that's important to me.
So we're going to do a council candidate's choice question here. I'm going to read you 4 questions. You're going to have 1 minute. You can answer any or all of those in your time. This is going to be the last question group from the audience. And then we're going to move on to the questions you had for each other and then the closing statements. So here are the 4 questions. If high-speed rail passes, will you work to make Mountain View a stop? Where should the new hotel that we hope to have in the city go? Should it be downtown or out on Shoreline, closer to Google? What would you do to make Mountain View more bicycle-friendly? And how would you promote green construction in Mountain View of green residential and business buildings? So high-speed rail, should it stop in Mountain View? Where should the hotel go? How to make the city more bike-friendly? And what are you going to do to promote green construction? And we'll go with this question in the order of who's raising their hand first. Who would like to go first? Laura, and then Mike, and then we'll get the next one.
Sure. With the high-speed rail, spent some time on it when I was on the VTA board and the VTA Policy Advisory Committee. And so the 2 choices for the stop along Peninsula are Redwood City and Palo Alto. And frankly, they're just larger than we are. And I think that I wouldn't mind if there was a high-speed rail stop in Palo Alto, because that's pretty close. With the hotel, I believe we spent some time looking at this. I love the idea in the North Bayshore area because there are lots of businesses there with lots of people visiting, and I think it makes perfect sense to have a hotel located there. Bike friendly, what we can do is continue to implement our wonderful bike pedestrian committee's plan. There's a lot of great suggestions for building more and more bike paths, and we should do that. Green construction, I just think we have to establish it. So we have green building guidelines for commercial, green building guidelines for residential. Once we start, we can go forward.
Almost got them all in. I'll start with the hotel. I think I'm only going to go with 2 of them. I actually think the first hotel out in the North Bayshore area is the ideal location. I mean, people that are going to be using a hotel are going to be here for business purposes. You're going to want them closer to the businesses that they're working in, as opposed to have to drive from downtown all the way out there. So I think that is a greener solution as well. It's got better freeway access and probably makes it more viable. We do have properties owned downtown for a hotel, and I think a boutique hotel downtown would also be great, but I'm not certain that the city should be putting a whole lot of effort into developing that. As to the high-speed rail, you know, if you start having a whole lot of stops on the high-speed rail, it stops becoming a high-speed rail. And, you know, Redwood City, I think, is larger than Mountain View. Palo Alto is not larger than Mountain View. And we have a fantastic civic or transit center, and I think it would be worthwhile to be considering us, but I think we may be too close to San Jose.
Okay, who'd like to go next? I see Alicia, and then John Ames.
Okay, high-speed rail stop here in Mountain View. Again, I think on the surface it's like, oh, a stop here, and I'm like, no, not really. But I would support high-speed rail in this area in general, because I think that will probably help us finally get some kind of over or underpass for pedestrians for that area, which I think is greatly needed in downtown Mountain View with the transit center. New hotel, I think, again, being in North Bayshore is better. Again, first thought might be, oh, a hotel in downtown Mountain View, then okay. If we're trying to preserve the neighborhood as it is, probably having a hotel is not the best idea in trying to get that done, especially with the traffic issues that will come with that. And promoting green building construction, I think, again, it starts from here. It starts from whoever's going to be sitting here and representing the city and saying, okay, these are the practices that we covet, and this is what we want to see done for future developments that are coming in, and being able to set that precedence and say, do it or we're not going to use it.
John Ames.
Okay, I'll take 2 pieces of this. First of all, with respect to the high-speed rail, not too sure about a stop, but one way or the other, whether the high-speed rail passes or not, we need to be thinking long-term about mobility in Mountain View. And that is going to include some sort of rail improvements and grade separation along the major rail corridor. And so, regardless of whether it passes or not, we're going to have people on the council that have the vision for whatever growth that there is in transit and rail. Secondly, on bikes, yeah, follow the bike ped plan. What I do is set an example. I come to this building for EPC meetings in good weather, and mine's frequently the only bike in the garage. And set an example on bicycling first.
Who'd like to go next? I see John McAllister and then Tom Meeks. Okay.
First of all, I'd like to thank Tom for that Freudian slip by calling me council member. I appreciate that.
It's an expectation.
But, since one of my main goals is the economic feasibility of the city, I would like to see the hotel go in a park with a convention center type of a deal, because it would generate money from outside areas coming into Mountain View. It would generate and enhance the area for new businesses to enter the area, because they'll say, hey, we've got full service here, we've got hotels, we can bring our visitors in and so forth. So I would think outside of North Bay Shore, I think that would be an excellent spot for it. And the other question, because, there's three main things that the city retains its money on. It's property taxes, sales tax, and occupancy taxes. So that would be a great way to enhance our budget and therefore maintain our services. The other thing I would like to talk about is the bicycle friendly. I think that's a great way to, I go riding my bike not as much as John does, but I look at the bike lanes. It's very important. When I was walking counseling in some areas, people were complaining that they didn't have bike lanes there, and people were parking in areas that could have been a park lane. So it's very important that we get out there and mark the lanes. That will help it friendly. Also, some way to get more cars off the street and way of parking. That we, when a new development comes in with the parking, there's enough parking so that they aren't competing with bicycles. And the zoning green building, yes, it starts with the council. We start saying, with anything that the city does as an example, and then we incorporate it into new construction, new permits, remodeling, that will be very helpful, a great way to start the whole process.
Okay, I'll touch on the high-speed rail first. Let's just assume it passes, so we have to deal with the issue. Where should it stop? Okay, people mentioned, well, it should stop in Redwood City Valley because of size. It should stop because where the demand for people getting on it should be, and that's the basic line. The problem is, you have VTA and you have the San Mateo counterpart that just aren't well organized to do that type of research or have any clue about how to spend money. I think you see in The Voice today a good story by Greg Perry on the VTA. It's pretty much not a very well-run organization. Hotel, here's another economics one that I'm baffled by, which is, every time we want to look at that property in the North Shore, people say, oh, no, we're saving that for a boutique hotel. I said, well, why do you think one should go there? Well, it's a great spot. I said, if it's such a great spot, why after 25 years no one said, I want to build one there? The only way that thing's going to get built there is with huge subsidies. And then you have to ask yourself, is that enough to attract? Is that worth attracting a hotel? If you look now in the papers at the Tesla Corporation with San Jose's offered huge subsidies, that's going to start backfiring right now because of the decline in demands and things.
Thank you, Diana.
Okay. Regarding to high-speed railroad, I think either stop here in Mountain View or not, I don't think that really makes big difference because, first of all, the plan is already set up, and also I believe that we have light rail that will connect to San Jose. Maybe that's the reason why they do not consider Mountain View as a stop for high-speed. And also high-speed railroad, I checked other places in other countries, they really give a lot of crime risks. So that's why I think if we have it or if we have the stop or not, it's not a big thing. The second one is, I believe the hotel should, I like the concept of building a hotel and convention together. That really helps promote our city. And also that place should close to Google because that's our landmark for the city. Excuse me. And third, for the bike lane, I think we should have that. Thank you.